Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. The whole world has collapsed and you are stuck in an isolated school with your friends facing a psychotic bear that intends to eliminate you all. In today's video, we will find out how the story of Danganronpa ends, going through the last episodes 12 and 13. Now that the students at Hope's Peak Academy had fought a final battle with the bear to decide who would be the winner of that sick game, all the doors were unlocked so that the youngsters could carry out their investigations. Remember that the winner of this duel will be rewarded with freedom, while the loser will be punished with elimination. Naegi and Kirigiri walked to the top floor of the building, which looked more like a ruined castle. Surely, something terrible had happened there. Together they go to the office of the former principal of that school, Kirigiri's father. The girl investigates the computer and finds no information about the events outside that school, much less about the biggest incident in history, which Alter Ego was investigating before he was eliminated. While trying to access a file, Kirigiri is faced with a request for a password. Apparently her father was trying to hide something. However, Naegi manages to access the folder and a secret door is revealed. Inside, there was a room with a table and a closet. On the table, there was a gift box. Upon opening it, Naegi finds human bones and is completely disturbed. Kirigiri claims that those are the remains of her father. She came to this conclusion after evaluating all the information she had collected so far. According to Monokuma, only the 16 students had entered that school alive and Alter Ego had found out that the principal was still in the school. So the chances that her father was dead inside were very high. While analyzing the box, along with the director's bones, Naegi finds an electronic card. He then finds a memory card hidden behind the picture frame. After entering it into the computer, a video of the principal interviewing the students appears. During the conversation, the man asks if the teenagers agree to spend the rest of their lives inside that school, and they all agree. Naegi is even more surprised to see that he himself was also interviewed and agreed to live in that school. The problem is that the young man could not remember any of it. When it was Inishima's turn to be interviewed, the video is interrupted and Monokuma short-circuits the computer. In this instant, the young man soon realizes that the bear was trying to prevent them from seeing something important that would help them unravel the whole mystery. In the teacher's lounge, Tagami finds the record of the 16th student, Ikesaba Makoro, who they believe was the last victim. The girl was a member of a mercenary group called Fenrir before she enrolled in that school and had become a super collegiate level soldier. Her electronic card informs him that Makoro had never left the school since she enrolled and her wounds were caused well before the students found her in the garden. Seconds later, the crazy bear comes up behind the young man and hands him a picture. In it, it is possible to see the whole class together, except for him. Monokuma does the same with all the other students. His intention is to make them believe that the rest of the class is an accomplice of the current principal and thus confuse them. Naegi continues his investigation and, after leaving the principal's office, goes to the student lockers and uses the electronic card he had found to open the doors. In the very first cabinet, he finds some tarot cards, a crystal ball, and Hagakuri's notebook. His notes indicated that the young man had received lessons, but since they had entered the school, Naegi could not remember attending any classes. In the second closet, he finds Kirigiri's diary, which contained the entire plan to isolate the students inside the school. In the final pages, the girl wrote that despair was among them. She further states that there was not just one, but two super collegiate level despair. The young man wonders if the bear had planted those materials inside the cabinets to confuse them. In an attempt to collect more clues about this mystery, he goes to the morgue, where the bodies of his dead friends were stored. Once there, the young man finds Fukawa passed out on the floor. When she wakes up, the girl's body is taken over by her second personality, genocider Sayo. Fukawa had fainted after seeing Ikesaba Mukiro's burned body and the psychopath took her place, but Naegi notices something strange. There were only 9 bodies on the stretchers, but they were 16 students and only 5 of his classmates besides him were alive. Therefore, there should be 10 bodies in the morgue. This could be an indication that one of the students who had supposedly perished was actually the one behind the bear director. But which one? After going down the elevator, the 6 surviving students arrive at the jury and the last collegiate trial begins. This time, Monokuma will also participate in the trial. If the students find out who it was that eliminated Ikesaba Makoro and reveal the mystery of that high school, they will win the game and the person behind Monokuma will be executed. However, if they are unable to unravel these 2 cases, the bear principal will be the winner and all the teenagers will be punished. Hagakuri begins the trial by showing the photo that Monokuma handed him. He accuses all the students of being allied with the bear principal, as they were all friends and had known each other even before they entered that school, except for him. Apparently, the young man has fallen into the bear trap. But his argument goes wrong when the other students show Hagakuri a photo in which he is also having fun with the others. At this point, the group realizes that Monokuma was trying to manipulate them so that they could not come to an agreement. The students claim they don't remember taking those pictures, and Naegi reveals that he found some of Hagakuri's and Kirigiri's belongings in the closets on the top floor. However, the young man claims that he has not used any lockers since he entered that school. Naegi shows Kirigiri's diary that he had found, and the girl says that it is indeed her handwriting. But she did not remember writing it either. By this time, it was clear that the students had had their memories erased. The young man shows the memory card that he found in the principal's office and says that it contains a video in which all the students were being interviewed by the principal and agreed to spend their lives at that school. Upon seeing that he has been discovered, Monokuma confesses to being responsible for stealing some of the students' memories. At this point, Naegi says that while investigating the morgue, he realized that only 9 freezers were being used, even though 10 of his colleagues had been eliminated. With this, he concludes that one of the bodies was taken from the freezer and used in another case to simulate a new elimination. Upon examining the body, the young man claims that the corpse they found in the garden had identical wounds to those that caused Inashima Junko's elimination. This means that there were 7 students alive and not just 6. Also, the 7th student who was alive, Ikesaba Makoro, was responsible for that macabre game. This would have been the conclusion of the class, had Naegi not paid attention to one more detail. On the right hand of the body that was found in the garden was a tattoo identifying the Fenrir mercenary group. So that masked person who had been eliminated was not Inashima, but Ikesaba Makoro. The real person controlling the bear director had faked his own elimination to hide, and that person was Inashima Junko. To prove his point, Naegi says that the bear had turned off the computer right at the time that the video would show Inashima's interview with the director. Moreover, in all the pictures distributed to the students, the girl's face was covered. This was a strategy Monokuma used so that the students would not realize that the Inashima in the photo was different from the girl they had met when they arrived at the school. The young man claims that Inashima Junko and Ikesaba Makoro switched places from the beginning. Since all the other students had lost their memory, they did not notice the difference. By eliminating Ikesaba Makoro, who had switched places with her, the real culprit managed to fake her elimination perfectly. After this, all the students point to Inashima as being the organizer of that game and the person behind the demon bear. Unexpectedly, the girl reveals her true form and tells them that Makoro was her twin sister. Together, they formed the super collegiate level Desperation. For the sisters' plan to work, it was necessary for one of them to do everything on the sly so that she could control Monokuma and keep an eye on the students. Since Inashima was the smartest, she was given this role. However, Mukuro's title of soldier might frighten the other students and make them suspicious of her. So the girl decided to use her sister's super collegiate level fashion title, and to do so she would need to wear a disguise to look like her. After revealing her true identity, the psychopathic girl shows the students what the current situation of the outside world is like. Everything was being controlled by Monokuma's followers and humanity collapsed. Genocider Sayo appears and confirms the veracity of those videos. Since she and Fukawa, despite inhabiting the same body, do not share memories, Genocider remembered everything that had happened before the students had their memories erased. She tells about the greatest incident that has ever occurred in human history. Inashima takes advantage of the students' desperation to try to get them to give up the trial and agree to spend the rest of their lives inside the school. The girl claims that all their relatives were dead. According to her, more than a year ago, the world they knew ceased to exist. The students are startled because they had only been at that school for a few weeks, but Inashima tells them that they had been there for more than 2 years, but all their memories from that time have been stolen. They were classmates who had lived together for 2 years, but believed they had only known each other for a short time. Ultimately, that game was rigged so that the best friends would eliminate each other. After the first year of school, most of the students at Hope's Peak Academy were exterminated. To protect the survivors, the principal initiated the plan to isolate the school. What the man did not know was that the 2 sisters of despair were inside the school. Thus, the refuge that had been built to protect the students became a perfect cage to imprison them. After telling all this, again, Inashima changes the voting rules. She says that the students will have to choose between despair and hope. If all the students choose hope, they win, but if at least one vote is for despair, it wins. But they could rest assured that Inashima would not participate in the voting. However, if she won the game, all the students would be punished. The punishment would be that they would all live in peace inside the Hope's Peak Academy for the rest of their lives. But for this, Naegi would be sacrificed. Absolutely, everyone was overcome with fear. They didn't know exactly what they would find outside that school, and they didn't even know if they would be able to survive in this new world. Inashima was confident that they would give in to desperation, and Naegi was a single vote away from being executed. To ensure her victory, Inashima tells them that the world outside is contaminated and they are only alive because of the air purifier. However, if she were to be eliminated, the purifier would be turned off and the doors unlocked. Before starting the vote, Naegi asks his colleagues not to let despair influence their decision, because living the rest of your life controlled by despair is the same as not living. They had the responsibility of carrying the hope of their departed friends out into the world. After hearing the words of their colleague, the students are filled with hope and decide that they will face whatever is waiting for them outside. Inashima is surprised to discover that she has lost the game she built herself. However, at the same time she is excited to remember her track record and all the terrible things she has done. The despair of knowing that she is living her last minutes takes over the girl and that becomes the happiest moment of her life. Naegi tries to get her to give up her execution, because, after all, no one wanted another elimination to happen, but Inashima states that she wishes to enjoy every second of the despair of dying, since it is something that can be experienced only once. At that instant, she presses the red button and declares the beginning of her punishment. First she is machine-gunned by hundreds of baseballs. Then she passes through the death globe. Then she is burned in a bonfire and run over by an excavation machine. Finally, she is crushed on the same conveyor belt on which she intended to unjustly eliminate Naegi. After following Inashima's execution, the students gather in front of the main gate and Naegi presses the button that would return them to freedom. And you, what would you do if you were one of the students at Hope's Peak Academy? Would you choose the freedom of living outside that school, or would you choose to stay in a safe place? So, what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like it and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.